Wait, welcome back to my channel. Another Reddit story. React. Obviously, we're reacting to daily lore. I probably won't catch up, depending how many videos I post. So I probably won't ever catch up to, which is actually pretty good. I don't really want to catch up because then I have to wait for the channel to actually post, and obviously I am fine with reacting late to things. Um, Obviously, if you see some of these that I've technically watched, I didn't watch them. I try to go to the channel, and obviously, I have it. I don't want to go back to show, but I click on the channel, then I have to click on the video, and then I have to click on then I have to go from home to videos to the oldest. So then it's here, and then I have to go to the oldest. Okay, next one is actually not that long. Honestly, if I can quick up this intro, this is gonna be a below 25-minute video, but probably not. So this is the next one. Like I said, I'm just going to get into it.
I discovered my fiance was taking money from our joint wedding fund to pay child support for a child I never knew existed, and when I confronted him, he blamed me for snooping. Then his ex reached out to warn me that he's done this before and there's actually 2 children he's been hiding. I, 29F, was supposed to be getting married to my fiance Jake, 32M, next month. We've been together for 3 years, engaged for 1, and up until 2 weeks ago, I thought we had the perfect relationship. Now I'm sitting in my sister's guest bedroom with all my belongings in boxes, wondering how I could have been so blind. Jake and I met through mutual friends at a charity event. He was charming, attentive, and seemed genuinely interested in everything about me. Our relationship progressed naturally. We moved in together after a year, got
That was
engaged on
probably
our
like
second anniversary.
most likely that was probably like designed. Like he designed himself for that. Like he made himself attentive. He made himself all this. Because I wouldn't say all guys, but a lot of guys, if they want to trick a girl in order to be in a relationship with them, they would do all this. I wouldn't say all guys, but a lot of guys would probably do this.
And had been planning our wedding for the past year. We opened a joint savings account specifically for wedding expenses, and both contributed to it regularly. The problems began when I noticed discrepancies in our wedding fund. As the primary planner, I was keeping track of our budget and payments to vendors. Last month, I noticed that the balance was significantly lower than it should have been. At first, I thought it was a bank error, but when I checked the transaction history, I found regular withdrawals of $500 every month for the past year that I couldn't account for. When I asked Jake about these withdrawals, he became immediately defensive. He claimed they were for wedding surprises and accused me of ruining them by snooping. His reaction seemed extreme, but I wanted to trust him.
I don't understand why would you have why would you as a person trying to pull a scheme and trying to get married, why would you want to go into a joint? I'm not talking about the this person. I'm talking about the guy. Why would you want to go into a joint account? And if they're actually you're planning a wedding, they're the one that's actually looking and actually spending the money on the card and actually doing all this shit. Why would you try to take money from an account that they are constantly using and checking? It just doesn't make any logical sense. Why would you do this? I mean, I understand if the person is like oblivious to their account or not, which is another story, but it doesn't make any sense. Why? Why would you agree to be in an account and take money from the account just to act defensive? I mean, acting defensive usually, keyword usually, means you're guilty.
So I apologized and dropped the subject temporarily. However, the amount and regularity of the withdrawals kept bothering me.
That's
$500
true,
every
five
month,
hundred
always on
dollars
the 15th,
every
didn't sound like
month
occasional wedding surprise.
for an entire year? How much is that? Let me see. 5, 10, 15, 20. It's 2,000. 2,000 times 12. I'm not good at math. 2,000 times 10 is 20,000. So it's like 22, give or take. 22,000, give or take. Somewhere around there. That's a lot of money. Yeah, for a year, if this is happening for a year, that's a lot of money.
Purchases. So while Jake was at work, I did something I'm not proud of. I went through his desk looking for answers.
Yeah, that's
What
always
I
the
found
answer.
changed everything. Hidden beneath some old tax documents was a folder containing legal papers for child support payments, $500 per month for a 6-year-old boy named Ethan. There were also a few school photos of a child who looked strikingly like Jake. The documents were dated 3 years ago, which meant Jake had been paying this child support before we even met. I was in shock. Not because Jake had a child from a previous relationship, people have pasts, and being a father wouldn't have been a deal breaker.
The reason she was shocked, obviously, like she's going to state it, is that he never brung it up. He never told her, which, like she says right now, it wouldn't be a deal breaker. Like most guys, I wouldn't say most guys, a lot of guys probably wouldn't care if you had a kid. I'm not saying every guy would care, because some guys do care if you have a kid, but a lot of guys probably don't care if you have a kid or not. It's, I mean, it's up to you, obviously, but a lot of guys will not care. I wouldn't say every guy. Some guys do care, obviously. The same thing for girls. Some girls would care too, or not care.
For me. What devastated me was that he had hidden this massive part of his life from me for our entire relationship, and worse, had been secretly using our wedding fund to make these payments. When Jake came home that evening, I confronted him with what I'd found.
Oh,
He went through a range of emotions, first anger that I had gone through his things, then defensiveness, claiming he was protecting me from complications in his past. He explained that he'd had a brief relationship with a woman named Melissa 7 years ago and only found out about Ethan when the boy was 3. According to Jake, he agreed to the child support but wanted nothing to do with actually being a father. When I asked why he didn't tell me about this before we got engaged or at least before we started planning a life together, his response was what truly broke my heart. He
hmm
said, "I knew you'd overreact just like you're doing now. This has nothing to do with us or our future."
deflecting, deflecting. That's exactly what he's doing. That's the only thing he's doing is deflecting uh, accountability, basically, and he's trying to blame her for how she would react when she finds out the truth. That's pretty much all he's doing.
I was stunned. How could he not see that hiding a child and secretly diverting our wedding funds was a massive betrayal of trust? When I pointed this out, he turned the blame back on me for invading his privacy, saying if I
Deflecting
had
again.
respected his boundaries, we wouldn't be having this problem. We argued for hours, going around in circles. He refused to acknowledge that his deception was the real issue. Eventually, I told him I needed space to think and went to stay with my sister for the night. The next morning, I received a message from someone I didn't know, Melissa, the mother of Jake's child. She had found me on social media and reached out with a warning: Jake wasn't just hiding one child, but 2. Apparently, there was also a 4-year-old daughter named Sophie with another woman named Rebecca. According to Melissa, Jake had pulled the same disappearing
Wow.
act with
He likes he likes doing the thing and then leaving. Like my God, shit, dude, my dude is just terrible. Doesn't know how to use safety or anything.
Rebecca, agreeing to pay support but refusing to be involved in Sophie's life. Melissa had only found out about Sophie when she and Rebecca happened to meet at Jake's workplace while trying to track him down over missed payments. Melissa sent screenshots of conversations between her and Rebecca, plus additional court documents showing the second child support arrangement. She apologized for interfering but said she wished someone had warned her about Jake's pattern of behavior before she got involved with him. I was devastated all over again. One child could have been a
Actually, it
difficult
must have been
conversation
more
that Jake
than
avoided.
what it added up. Unless my math was wrong. So like I said, I was bad at math. But unless he's paying more out of his own card, because if he took more than 500 off of the shared account, that would be kind of suspicious. Even though 500 is suspicious every month off of a shared account.
But 2 children with 2 different women that he'd abandoned and hidden? This wasn't a mistake, it was a pattern of deception. When I called Jake to confront him about this new information, he exploded, calling Melissa crazy and vindictive and claiming she was trying to ruin his life.
Birthday party, karate, swim meet. Walmart Pharmacy could save you a stop by delivering.
Claiming she was trying to ruin his life. He denied having a second child.
Most likely he would do the same thing to you if he never found out. This would have been terrible if you never found out.
Till I mentioned the specific details Melissa had shared. Then his story changed to say he wasn't sure if Sophie was really his, despite the court-ordered child support. That was the moment I knew our relationship was over. The man I thought I knew, the one I had agreed to marry, simply didn't exist. While he was at work the next day, I packed my essential belongings and moved to my sister's place. I also transferred my half of the remaining wedding fund back to my personal account, leaving Jake's contributions untouched. Over the next few days, Jake's messages ranged from angry accusations to tearful apologies. His family, who I'd grown close to, started calling as well. Apparently, Jake had told them I was having pre-wedding jitters and overreacting to some old financial issues. He hadn't mentioned the children at all. I finally broke down and told his sister Megan the whole story. She was silent for a long moment before confessing that she knew about Ethan but had been sworn to secrecy by Jake when we started dating. She didn't know about Sophie, though, and was clearly shocked. She apologized profusely for not telling me, saying Jake had convinced the family that telling me would ruin everything and that he was waiting for the right time. It's been 2 weeks now. I've canceled what wedding arrangements I could and let our friends know the wedding is off. Jake continues to alternate between blaming me for not understanding and begging for another chance. His latest argument is that since I know about the children now, we can move forward honestly. He doesn't seem to grasp that the issue isn't the children themselves, but his choice to lie about them for...
That's just funny. I had to pause to laugh. Whenever you hear something stupid, you just have to laugh. I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but yeah, just hear something stupid, you just start laughing.
Our entire relationship. Last night, I did something I hadn't planned to do. I called Rebecca, the mother of Jake's daughter. Unlike Melissa, who seemed genuinely concerned for me, Rebecca was cold and direct. She confirmed everything Melissa had told me and added that Jake had initially denied Sophie was his, demanding a paternity test while accusing Rebecca of trying to trap him. The test confirmed he was the father, after which he agreed to the minimum legally required support but has seen Sophie exactly twice in 4 years. What hurts the most isn't even the financial deception, though that was a serious breach of trust. It's realizing that the man I loved could abandon his own children and lie so effectively to my face for years. How could I ever trust him with our future, or with children of our own someday? I've decided to return his engagement ring through his sister Megan, who has been supportive despite her conflicted loyalties. I'm staying with my sister until I can find a new apartment, and I've scheduled appointments with both a therapist and a financial advisor to help me rebuild. Some mutual friends think I should try to work things out with Jake, saying that many couples have secrets and financial issues they need to overcome. They point out that Jake did technically fulfill his legal obligations to his children, even if he wasn't honest with me about them. A few have even suggested that the mothers of his children are exaggerating to cause problems for him. But I keep coming back to the same thought: this wasn't one mistake or one moment of poor judgment. This was a calculated, years-long deception.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think as much as that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But yeah, I don't like that either. Sometimes I can't, sometimes I come to conclusions that I can't really explain properly because I don't have the right, I would say, vocabulary or something. I can't really think of the words to say, but I come to a conclusion in my mind that, something, either is wrong or right. And I wouldn't be able to tell you why or why not. Sometimes I might, but in this scenario, yeah, obviously you should not go along with the relationship. It just doesn't sound like it's viable. It sounds like you're two different people, and of course, there's a lot of baggage with the one person. So obviously, no, just no.
About one of the most fundamental aspects of a person's life, their own children. If Jake could lie about that, what else might he be hiding? I'm heartbroken and still processing everything, but I know ending our engagement was the right decision. I deserve someone who respects me enough to be honest, even when the truth is complicated or uncomfortable. And those children deserve better than a father who treats them like secrets and financial burdens. Update, 1 month later. It's been a month since my world turned upside down, and I wanted to update you all on what's happened since then. First, thank you to everyone who offered support and advice on my original post. Your kind words helped me through some of the darkest days. After canceling the wedding, I discovered just how deep Jake's deception went. When I contacted our vendors to explain the situation, 3 of them mentioned that Jake had already requested partial refunds sent to his personal account instead of our joint wedding fund.
Okay,
He claimed these
I
were canceled
see.
services that he'd arranged, but I later found out he never booked them in the first place. He'd
No, you
essentially been
did.
skimming from our wedding budget beyond even the child support payments I discovered. When confronted with this
Or
evidence,
nobody.
Jake finally
Maybe
broke
nobody
down and admitted
reported
he
it.
had serious financial problems. Apparently, he was in significant debt due to what he called investment mistakes but wouldn't elaborate on. He'd been using our wedding fund as a way to juggle his various financial obligations. The child support payments were real, but they were just part of his financial issues. The aftermath with his family has been complicated. After my conversation with his sister Megan, she confronted their parents, who reluctantly admitted they knew about both children all along. Jake had sworn them to secrecy, convincing them that
I mean, of course they would. I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, it's your parents, so most likely you would convey that type of something to your parents, of course, and you obviously would tell them if you're in this person, and if you have the same mindset as this person, you'll tell your parents not to tell anybody.
couldn't handle it and would leave him if I knew. While Megan has apologized repeatedly and tried to make amends, his parents maintain that I should have been more understanding of Jake's difficult situation. Meanwhile, I've had several more conversations with
quote
Melissa and
unquote,
Rebecca, the mothers of
difficult.
Jake's children. Both women shared eerily similar stories of how Jake charmed them, then became distant, and eventually hostile when they became pregnant. Neither of them had known about me until recently, as Jake had told them he was single but not looking for anything serious. Learning that he was planning a wedding while telling them he couldn't afford higher child support payments was particularly painful for them. In a surprising turn of events, the 3 of us met for coffee 2 weeks ago. What could have been an awkward or antagonistic meeting turned into something healing. We shared our experiences with Jake's manipulation and realized how he had played all of us with similar tactics, love bombing followed by gaslighting and blame shifting whenever he was confronted with his behavior. Rebecca even showed me texts from Jake that were nearly identical to ones he'd sent me, right down to specific phrases and pet
Wow,
names. As for Jake,
that's crazy. Imagine me using the same shit. I mean, I understand the saying, "What's broke, don't fix it." But I mean, using the same lines on different people, on different people, that's crazy. Like, my God, that's just like, can you just come up with something new? Like, what? Or just come up with nothing? I mean, shit, I wouldn't be able to come up with anything.
his behavior has become increasingly erratic. After his initial cycle of blame and apologies failed to win me back, he switched to spreading false stories among our friend group.
Yeah, makes sense.
According to him, I'd been financially controlling
knew
and had
it.
overreacted to his past mistakes. When that didn't work, he started showing up at my workplace and my sister's home, alternating between tearful pleas for reconciliation and angry demands for his share of the wedding money. The situation became concerning enough that I filed for a temporary restraining order last week.
Then there's sunlight, cold up and drained.
temporary restraining order last week. During the hearing, Jake made a scene in the courtroom, accusing me of trying to ruin his life and reputation. His behavior only validated my decision to end our relationship and seek legal protection. The judge granted the order, which has given me some peace of mind. On a more positive note, I found a small apartment of my own and have begun rebuilding my life. My employer has been
Good for
incredibly
you.
supportive, allowing me
That's
flexible
very good,
hours to attend
actually.
therapy and legal appointments. Friends who initially urged reconciliation have apologized after seeing Jake's true colors emerge. Even my parents, who adored Jake and were initially heartbroken about the canceled wedding, now admit they're relieved I discovered the truth before legally binding myself to him.
That's
The
true.
most unexpected
This is actually very good that you did this before. Shit.
development has been the friendship forming between myself, Melissa, and Rebecca.
And the
We've
other two
created a
girls.
supportive group chat where we can vent and offer encouragement to each other. Last weekend, Melissa invited me to Ethan's soccer game, where I met both children for the first time. They're beautiful, innocent kids who deserve so much better than what Jake has given them. Seeing him in them was jarring, but also healing in a strange way, a reminder that something good came from each of these painful relationships. Financially, I'm slowly recovering. The wedding vendors who hadn't yet been paid were understanding, and I was able to recoup some deposits. I've been working with a financial advisor to create a new budget and savings plan now that I'm on my own again. It's tight but manageable. Looking ahead, I'm focusing
That's
on
good.
healing. My
Honestly.
therapist has helped me recognize that Jake's behavior shows clear patterns of narcissistic abuse, and I'm working through the guilt and self-doubt that come from being deceived for so long. Some days are still incredibly hard. I find myself missing the man I thought I knew, before remembering that person never actually existed.
Yeah, that
I've
person
also
was
had
a
to
fabric of your, I wouldn't say a fabric of your imagination, but a fabric of somebody else's imagination. It was never a real thing. You never actually met the real person until you found out the real person, and then you actually met the real person. Some people make up like them fake selves in order to. Some people are fine doing it because they do it for self confidence or something like that, and online is a different scenario. But some people make them fake selves in order to trick people, basically, just trick them, and then they'll find out who they actually are later on, in either in a relationship or in a friendship or whatever. But that's like a couple, maybe months or years down the road. And if you're in a relationship with them and you're getting married, obviously, let's say you got married, obviously it's gonna be hard. Not hard. You can still get out, but it's gonna be harder to get out. Now, a friendship, you could leave, but obviously there's complications as well.
that there were red flags I ignored: Jake's vague explanations about his past, his reluctance to discuss future children, his defensiveness around his phone and finances. In retrospect, these were all clues pointing to his secret life, but love and trust made me overlook them. If there's anything others can learn from my experience, it's this: transparency about major life elements, like children, finances, and past relationships, isn't just nice to have in a partnership, it's essential. Someone who truly loves you won't hide fundamental parts of themselves or their responsibilities. And when someone shows anger instead of
Not
remorse when
wrong.
caught in a lie, they're telling you everything you need to know about their character. I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time in weeks, I'm feeling hopeful. I've survived something that felt unsurvivable a month ago. I've made new, unexpected connections. And most importantly, I've learned to trust my instincts again. To anyone facing a similar
actually
situation,
good.
you are stronger than you know, and there is life after betrayal. It might not be the life you planned, but it can still be beautiful and meaningful in ways you haven't yet imagined.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max. Together for $16.99.
It's actually true. Most people don't believe. Wait, what was it? Hold up, let me go back. Fuck.
Fundamental parts of themselves or their responsibilities. And when someone shows anger instead of remorse when caught in a lie, they're telling you everything you need to know about their character. I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time in weeks, I'm feeling hopeful. I've survived something that felt unsurvivable a month ago. I've made new, unexpected connections. And most importantly, I've learned to trust my instincts again.
That one. Yeah. Trusting your instincts. Obviously, you should always trust your instincts. even if they are wrong, sometimes you should still trust them. Um, there's a reason they're called instincts. So, okay, I'm gonna read this. First of all, I don't want to do that. I'll do that after. I usually take a picture so I could actually highlight the text and then, yeah, whatever. I discovered my fiance was taking money from our joint wedding fund to pay child support for A. And that was Dead Spies, Reddit, story, React.